So it is just before high sun. Okay, so it's about 11, half 11 in the day. Getting to the other side of the loch will take you, as I said, 3/4 of a day of travel. So we're looking at about 6 hours on the carts. We all gearing up, yes?
Yeah. I've already got my stuff together, so I'll hop on the cart.
Yeah, following your sort of plan, your decision, Harshnag is behind you as you rustle up the oxen and you bring the cart through the town. As you go past or through the northern gate, this eeriness that is hung about you as you've been investigating this settlement disappears as you follow the large ruts in the road before you, heading further north. The road does skirt more closely to the loch than it has done in the earlier parts of your journey in this northern part of the region. You're about halfway now. Harshnag is sort of thundering behind you, slowly, step by step, making sure that he doesn't kick the cart by accident, launching you all into the verges beside you. You do see the odd bird from time to time, but it really is as if this place has been stripped back almost of any form of life. You're about halfway through the journey. Is there anything that you would like to discuss on your way around the... You're just approaching the northern cusp as the road bends to the right. There's like a trail that wraps around the northern part of this loch, as the road does actually go more to the left around the top of the Cold Loch.
Do the divots persist?
The divots do persist, and as you come to this fork in the road, onto that small trail, you have to sort of step up on the seats of the cart and peer off into the distance. You can actually see that these ruts go off into the field. They diverge from the road and head more direct north, heading towards the large mountains in the distance. That's of what is known as the Spine of the World.
Looks pretty dead around here.
We don't see any tracks as to what we were hoping for.
Just those ruts, unfortunately. There's no footfall, there's nothing.
Guess just carry on around the path.
Okay.
Following it off.
The trail gets rougher. The cart is not necessarily, vibrated apart as it hits all these potholes and things, but it is quite uncomfortable. But you do persist on, with Harshnag helping you dig yourself out of some more of the softer soil in small, secluded parts of this pathway, this trail. You can see now in the distance as the sun is just creeping, trying to claw its way before it's fully sets within the mountainside. You can see down in the darkness of the foot of the mountainside, Adrick, what would have been known as the northern village of the Cold Loch. And as you approach closer and closer, hearing the lapping of the water against the edge of the loch, you can see that what Locke had described to you is true. Even though this should have been almost a mirror's image of the southern village. The palisade walls have been torn down, the towers have been broken, smashed, the doors non-existent within the frames of the gatehouse. You can see through the palisade wall into what you would expect to see buildings. However, you can see cleanly straight through to the other side of the wall. You're about 10-15 minutes away from approaching the northern gatehouse of this northern village, this raised area of the Cold Loch. Is there anything that you would wish to do? It is roughly... Hang on, so would it be 11 o'clock? Yeah, so it's about 6, half 6, especially with how difficult it was trying to get through this path.
We're sitting on the cart for the journey. Would that have counted as a short rest for me?
It could have been, yes. I'll trigger some short rests. Hang on.
And Adric was going to try ascending as well.
Sure thing.
He was on the journey. Yeah.
What would you have liked to have sent?
I was thinking of sending...
Just drop it in the session notes. So I've got...
Oh, do you want me to set this? No.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. I'm writing now.
Witnessing the state of disrepair that this village is, Harshnag has actually started to grip the higher end of the handle of his axe, and it's now not slung across his back, just in case he's rather unsettled by what he has now seen.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9.
Chris, do you have a map of the second village, perchance?
I do not know. Bit of a cop out. If you just look at the village now and rotate it 180 degrees, pretty much it.
All right.
But instead of buildings, it's just foundations with rubble, ruins, bits and pieces thrown about. The fence lines would now be all broken. The palisade walls, you would freely be able to walk through the wall itself that should be there. As you have gotten closer to this gatehouse, you can see that the doors are actually sort of thrown roughly 20, 30 feet away from the gatehouse into the field areas around the sort of either side of the road.
And these divots, do they also go?
Oh no. So
All string
you've gone far away from those divots now. Those went north. So you've
Those
gone
went
around.
north.
Yeah, so you've
Okay.
gone around the lake.
Yeah.
So you're now technically northeasterly of your original position from the southern village. You're now between the western ice spires and the Cold Loch. You can definitely now feel the glacial breeze come down from these mountains and swoop across the body of water, especially now with the sun going in. Adrick, when would you have sent that message along this journey?
Well, we talked about it as we were leaving the southern village, potentially while we were pottering along in the 6 hours. So,
Okay.
oh yeah, you want me to use a 3rd level spell slot, I presume.
Yes, please.
Da, 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 da.
So are you openly saying this to the group just to sort of explain, or is this more of a private message?
Yeah, I'm telling them.
Okay. So
I'm going to say to them, I'm going to ask my brother what's going on.
You handed over the reins of the oxen to Locke, just to sort of, because he's a little bit better at handling animals than you are, and you do notice that there was a bit of ease with how much the cart was jostling around, so that was a good call. And you sit at the back of the cart, sending this message to your brother. You sit there, cross-legged, deep in prayer, deep in casting the ritual. And it sends. You wait 5 minutes, 10, 15, 30. A couple of hours pass, and you are surprised that there is no reply. You have had this spell fail on you in the past. This has not failed, it has successfully sent, but there has been no reply. And there still has been no reply as the cart now graces the northern entrance area, about 30, 40 feet away from what should be the gatehouse of this northern village.
Okay, so I'm not significantly worried.
Yes, there would definitely be a cause for alarm. I think it would be safe to say that in the past, along your early parts of these travels, you would have had someone try to check up on you from the clergy, maybe just to make sure that you got down the gorge path from your city down to the loch. So you know that there was some form of communication, but within your travel and your time with this band of adventurers, your party, your new friends, as it were, you haven't really heard much from them.
No, and I've not been dutiful in getting in touch either.
True.
Okay. Okay, I'll say to the others that I think I managed to send a message, but I haven't had a reply. I could try again.
Someone else, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm new to your spell, Adrick. Should it be like an instant response sometimes?
It should instantly connect to them and they should be able to respond. They don't need to cast their own spell. They can use the power of mine to get back to me.
Oh, well, let's hope your brother's safe. Is he in this northern village or further on?
He was.
No. So
Well, I could work through the entire population of the village, of the community.
Or like if you try contacting your brother again, you could ask him to like cough or sneeze if he's okay, or something else if he's in danger.
I think he doesn't need to talk out loud. He can just think the message
Oh, okay. I thought it was always
or whisper
a
it.
whole thing.
It's an interesting thought. Do you actually need to say anything?
I just assumed it was since you always spoke your spells.
It's just easier that way. The creature I send it to hears the message in its mind, recognizes me as the sender. If it knows you can answer in a like manner immediately. It's been hard before, but this wasn't hard. It just went. I could try my sister.
Mhm.
Cast it again.
Okay. Are you saying the same things, but more personal to her?
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to go to Tegan.
Mhm.
How many characters have I got? I've got 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to say message, adding Hemdrock Doc. Didn't answer. Didn't one word. So that's 4 more. Let's check my character count. 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so same message.
Mhm.
Adding the words Hemdoc didn't answer me.
Okay. Okay. You have sent. You again have successfully sent this message. You feel this connection. It's almost like a ping back. Yeah. But with sort of talking to your party members about bits and pieces as you sort of think and send this off, it's a bit too soon for a reply. So, are we setting up camp in this area, or are we trying to move away? What would you all like to do?
I don't think we should stay in the village. Remains. We should find somewhere more secure to stay the night.
Yeah, I
I'd
agree.
say that's safe as well.
I don't know what's more secure because whatever attacked here broke down this palisade.
Yeah, so Wayland's quite indifferent. Whatever come has came. No, whatever came has came. If they come again, well,
That's it. That's it. It's been a while since I've been here.
I wouldn't have thought. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought they'd come again. Over one night, we will do a full watch, regardless. So considering that, and with the help of Harshnag, I think we'll be reasonably safe here.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll start looking for the sort of structure that provides the most amount of cover without having to rebuild.
Yeah. So Wayland's going to set up a perimeter of torches.
As you bring the cart into the town, the village, Locke hasn't really made a good sort of description of this place. This place is completely devoid of any cover. Everything has been torn down, strewn across, rubble kicked everywhere, almost as if something has tried to, for lack of a better term, maybe erase this completely from this area. Yes, this something or someone or group of some things may have struggled to, pry apart the foundations and everything, but with the amount of destruction, it has been deemed suitable to move on or move away from the area or go back to where it or they came from. There are a couple of larger foundations that are higher than the rest and positioned pretty well within the town. That gives you a good almost 360 view of the village or the remnants of the village. You will either need to make some sort of structure to strap your tents to or to stay in your tents themselves. Weylin, as you're putting these torches around, trying to, you're really trying to think hard of where to go, not to try and stray too far away, but again, not to draw too much attention to yourselves. You do also notice that there are large indentations. You could always miss them with the amount of rubble that is strewn around, but instead of large indentations in the dirt of a regular shape, these do look like large bare feet impressions of a being the size of Harshnag, or of the same scale as Harshnag would be. Noticing these feet, I would like to assume that you might have had a bit of a pokey as you've been sort of putting the large sort of tiki torches out.
Yeah, of course. As I'm doing, as I'm setting up the lights, stringing them about, stringing them up, and in some cases, literally just driving them into the ground. I would be holding one of the torches to the giant print, just to sort of examine it.
Okay. Thinking it's like scaling up your training, as it were, because of just the sheer magnitude of size this footprint is. You can this is definitely a bare footprint, a barefoot footprint. Where the mud would have gone through this being's toes, it has dragged all that away, as almost as if it came through at a pace, at a speed, bullying its way through this area as it was probably causing chaos.
Do they look almost clumsy?
That's a bit hard to tell because of how big they are. You do try to get a sense of scale of these footprints, and you've managed to deduce that there are 3 separate sets of footprints as you've gone around the perimeter of where your party is trying to set up camp.
Okay. I'll return to the group and relay that information.
Okay.
Guys, there seems to be 3 sets of giant tracks, all bare feet, poorly dressed, and that's what I think has leveled the place.
Can you tell how new the tracks are, or how fresh they are?
Would I have known? I would hazard a guess and say roughly a month, but what would you say, Chris?
With the amount of where these would have been succumbing to, like with the rain, maybe with a bit of frost here and there, if it's been a really bad sort of a morning or night, it is longer than a month. But anything longer than that would be a finger in the wind guess. You would definitely be able to tell if this was fresher because of the change of the soil colour, and also the way that the grass or some of the vegetation would have torn itself. But it does look longer than a tracker would like if they were trying to hunt prey. It would be almost impossible to discern an exact time. But longer than a month is a safe bet.
Yeah, there's quite literally weeds growing in these tracks at this point. That's completely acceptable. But yeah, I would hazard a guess longer than a month, Bree.
Okay. So this is probably older than the previous village, the one that we were just at then, potentially.
Potentially, yes.
I'll look over to Adrick and kind of give like a worried look. Go, I'm growing a bit more concerned for your village.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly a village, it's a community. It's halfway up the mountain, so it's more protected, I would say. But obviously the residents here could have potentially jumped in boats and gone across the loch. Are there boats tied up here?
That's a really good question.
Or were the people here captured? And this footprint you saw, Weylin, has got toes, whereas the footprint I saw in the tavern seemed to be wearing boots.
2 separate attacks, maybe?
Separate, simultaneous attacks, maybe? Coordinated attack?
Well, there's no boats this side. There were boats the other side. Is it possible they fled here
And then they caught
followed
up.
to the other village.
Yeah. Are there boats here? Was that
Is-
confirmed?
Are we sure that the tracks leading north weren't leading south to the other village? So whereas we thought the tracks were going north, are we sure that those tracks weren't going to that village, not from that village?
It came.
It seemed to come in.
Mm.
Go on.
So it seemed to come in through the north, on the southern village. It seemed to come in through the north, looped round the courtyard, and then went north again.
Okay.
So where we were following the grooves, it seems like the structure, or I'll hazard a guess, a larger wagon, for lack of a better identification at this point, kind of strewn in between itself within the tracks. It's really quite erratic tracks on the way back. But let's go see if there's any boats.
I didn't see any on the air when I was flying over last time.
Oh, you definitely didn't see any. Okay.
Not a single boat.
So that
So that
theory holds.
suggests people fled.
Mm.
The obvious place to flee to is the other village, and there were boats there. Quite a few boats, actually.
A length of time had passed between this village and the other village being attacked, which would suggest some sort of siege, which would explain why the countryside is dead. But again, no discernible evidence of a battle, so very strange.
And this village has been completely flattened, whereas the other village was just emptied. Other than sort of having a window pushed in, there wasn't a lot of damage. Other than the gates were pushed in and one window was broken.
Unless, if we find signs of a fight in the morning that happened here, it would suggest that a surrender occurred on the southern village.
I suspect that the southern village were in rooms and went outside. It was nighttime and they went outside and were taken somewhere because they left the candles burning. When they got to bed, they weren't expecting to be attacked.
But likewise, during a siege, they'd still have them lit. And if a surrender was to happen during the night, the candles would be lit all the same.
Yeah. Or the people who fled here in boats were attacked by creatures in the loch.
Yeah. Really no idea.
No idea. We need to rest and then travel to Bolgirntek.
Yep.
In my opinion, as quickly as possible tomorrow.
Yep.
I'll take first watch.
Okay.
I'll take second.
I'll do third.
Hang on a moment. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I need to note this down. So,
So, Locke, Weylin, Bree, and
Locke, Weylin, Bree. Who's next? I need at least 4 people doing this.
Adrick, he won't be able to sleep anymore.
Adrick. Okay. Coco, you're lucky. You get a full night's sleep undisturbed.
Let's all go.
Okay.
I could play a song of rest if that makes it any better for everyone else. They are taking turns.
when you say undisturbed, please clarify. We do all still get full rest though.
Yeah. He just doesn't have to be disturbed
Just
to
doesn't
be
have to
woken up
yeah.
to do his
Yeah.
bit.
We still get our 8 hours. Right. Cool.
Maybe. I don't know. I need to roll some
Maybe.
percentile die, it says. I think.
Yeah.
So give me a minute.
Subject to the random encounter table, yeah.
I'm trying to find it. I don't know what one to use.
Spoiled for choice.
I
Shall I do
am.
the kill the team or kill the team? yeah. Shall I do a team
There are
TPK?
no rats here. God's sake.
No, but you have rudely awoken the aboleth of the lake. No. In all seriousness, just trying to find something. So please bear with. Locke, as the winds start to come down a bit harsher than what they have been for most of the day, skirting across the water surface of the loch, is there anything that you'd like to be doing for your part of the watch?
Just honestly looking around, keeping an eye out.
Okay.
Probably be, to be fair, for the first hour of my watch, I'd have probably been focusing on that summon familiar.
Okay. Oh, right, okay. So you spend the first hour of your watch concentrating on yourself.
Oh, actually, hold on. Does that require full concentration?
Yep.
Okay, maybe I wouldn't have.
All right. All right.
I'd stick to watch.
Okay.
Just things walking right past me.
You hear the crunch, but you think it's your popcorn that you've been
Yeah,
eating.
that's fine. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to do?
No, that's fine.
Okay. You can't but help that, yes, there is no familiar knocking of the hull of a boat, a fishing vessel, or anything like that against the jetties that are you can just about make them out with a lot of the cloud cover that is in the sky. But when the moon does come through, picking out the details of your surroundings, you do see that there are no boats. But what you do see is that one or maybe two of the jetty structures have actually been smashed in two along its deck. Your watch goes uneventful. Is there anything you'd like to do before you go to bed?
Nope, I'll go in there.
Okay.
Kick the next guy up.
All right, Weylin, you are starkly awoken a little bit. You were just about to drift off, but alas, it is your turn.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. Weylin will get his combat gear and set it outside.
Okay. It is definitely much harder for you to see, with that being one of the two people in this party that don't have the best visions within the dark and the low of light. The only warmth that you have, the only security that you feel, is the fire that is currently going, that you've kept stoked in the middle of this area you've deemed your camp, as well as the glow and the dim light from the torches surrounding you, flickering and flailing in the wind that comes down from the ice spires just off in the distance. You do get the odd bit of detail as the moon does come through the cloud cover, but not as clear as Loch. Is there anything specific you'd like to do on your watch?
No, just stay vigilant.
Okay. With your eyes peeled, almost forgetting to blink from time to time, your watch is uneventful.
All right. I'll approach Adrick and
That's Bree.
give him a wake-up call. Oh, Bree, sorry. I'll approach Bree and give her a wake-up.
My turn already.
Yeah. I go to sleep.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
So you would have, just a sense of time, Bree, you all would have probably gone to bed. With all the travel and exertion that you've had, and travelling and all the vibrations of it, does get to you a little bit. So going to bed at roughly about half 7 to 8 o'clock. It is now on the cusp of 12:30, just gone midnight.
I'm gonna take out my notebook and kind of start doodling and drawing the village across the loch. Every now and then I'll lift my head up, look around me, just make sure everything's safe.
You look up from time to time, trying to take in all the detail, and you do see that Harshnag is sort of pacing from time to time around the camp, almost startling you here and there, if especially with some of the blind spots that are around some of these posts on the outskirts of the village. One time when you look up and you look out towards the water to get in some of the finer details on the horizon line, you kind of have to you're almost second guessing yourself, but you almost thought you saw something large swimming in the water in the distance, in like the very far off main body of the water. But as you try to focus, and as the clouds cover the moonlight bleeding through, you can't see anything out there.
I'll stand up and look at Harshnag and go, "Do you see that in the water?"
He walks over to you, kneels down, just to hear the last part of that sentence that you said there, and looks out towards the water. It is rather difficult to see that far. I will go to the water's edge just to ensure nothing comes from its depths whilst you all sleep. Fear not. As he tries to be very careful with how he steps away from you all, not to disturb those sleeping. He does seem to be very careful around you all, almost in some form of kindness, that he is a large and imposing being, but he's not trying to what's the term? inconvenience you all.
Mm-hmm.
He is now stood there, axe in hand, sweeping the area, moving once or twice to different positions, just such that he can get different perspectives. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
I'll get up and move a little closer to the lock as well. Not to where Harshnag is, but closer. I'm just kind of going to keep an eye on both of them because I kind of want to see what's in the water.
All right. As you carry on your doodling here and there, making sure you've got Harshnag still with an eye shot, as well as that ominous shape that you feel that you saw far off in the distance on the horizon. You do not see it again as your watch comes to an end.
Okay. I'll go wake up Adrick. Before going to bed, I'll have one look at the lock again, hoping that thing in the water pops up and go to bed.
No, as lucky as you are, you do not see this thing again in the distance. You turn your back and you walk up the rocky path, the trail, and approach Adrick.
Adrick, it's time to get up. It's your turn.
Okay. I'm up. I'm awake.
Okay.
I'll look around.
There might be something in the water. Harshnag's taking a look, so keep an eye out. Wake me up if there's anything cool that happens.
Anything cool?
I mean, dangerous.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Adrick, your watch has begun. You made a comment earlier saying that you probably wouldn't have slept very well. Have you been able to get some shut-eye before your watch?
I think so. I think Adrick was going to pray. That's the obvious thing for him to do, and then settle into a probably fitful sleep. But yes, he obviously was asleep when Bree got to him. I take it he's not had any messages from.
I regret to inform you, but no, you have not received anything whilst you've been asleep, nor have you received anything for the first 15 minutes of your watch.
Okay. I'll look out over the remains of the village. Can I see Harshnag in the distance?
You can. So just down at the water's edge, he moves from position from time to time, kneeling down, sitting down, just to rest his feet, looking out towards the waterline. But he does also look back to you all. He's not leaving you all vulnerable. He does come back up the path and go around some of the buildings, just so that he can get a bit of a better scope higher up.
Okay. When he's higher up, I'll look out towards the lake. Otherwise, I'll try and survey the rest of the village and the surroundings when he's looking out. See.
You try to pass the time. You try to keep it a bit fresh from here and there. You move to sort of the corners of the foundations that you've placed yourself within, taking stock of your surroundings. You move slightly further across the central courtyard of this town and look out towards the water. Harshnag comes up one of the trails and beckons you forward.
Okay, I will move towards him.
Okay, and as you move towards him, he does move away from you, but slowly back down to the water's edge.
Mm-hmm.
He kneels down and sort of like hunches his body, placing his arm on top of his knee that is raised up. He looks to you to ensure that you notice where he's about to point, and he points directly across through two jutting rocks, these natural features within the water. He makes no sound as he does so, but he just points.
Okay, I'll look the direction he's pointing in.
Okay. Now, luckily being one of the party members that does have low light vision, you are able to make out the crests of the waves that go across the body of the water, the wind pushing the water up against the rocks and splashing the seaweed, or the weeds, up against the rocky face. And as you're just about to sort of give up, you do notice something rolling out of the water back down, and then you notice this long, slender neck with this bulbous head. Look, and then as quickly as it appeared, duck down into the water. Harshnag lowers his hand and rests it on his knee and looks to you. You can notice that Harshnag has a bit of a smile across his face. And he goes, Maybe it was best that we did not cross this loch.
I'll say back, you might have had an exciting swim.
Indeed. I shall take the rest of your watch, Adric. I can see that you are hexed by the uncertainty of contacting your relatives, your friends. Rest assured, I will protect you and your friends, and that furry little beast around your neck.
Walter, he looks after himself to a large degree. Thank you. I will take you up on that.
He stands up, turns to the embankment up with the path going directly to the ring of torches, with the campfire still not as ablaze as it was at the start of your watch, but it is still alight. He lifts his hand to his waist, sort of in front of you, sort of ushering you forward back to your bedsit. Is there anything you'd like to do just before you tuck yourself back in?
I'll try to focus my mind on my brother and my sister, sending them, not actually sending a message, but actually just thinking of them. And
Okay.
and thinking, I'm hating myself for not having contacted them for months. But yeah, eventually I will settle and fall asleep again, I guess.
Okay. With to an extent, yes, maybe you are being a bit harsh on yourself and beating yourself up with not having the contact that you maybe should have had for family members, etc. But you do remember the reasons to why you are not back home. But even with that at the back of your head, you do remember the fondness of your relatives, and that does bring a faint smile across your face as your head fully sinks into your camping pillow, as your eyelids are heavy and they close. With the lapping of the water in the background, the crackle of the fire, bringing you some form of comfort and ease as you fall asleep.
Wake up and find someone's stolen my socks.
Adric, you feel the warmth of the sun across your face. It is not quite early morning. It is with opening one eye as best as you can with the light just streaming across your face. It's rather uncomfortable. In a daze, with how high the sun is in the sky, with the familiar mountainsides around you, it's about 9:15 in the morning. You all have slept in a bit longer than what a long rest technically should be, but it is well received, probably to some. So, please talk amongst yourselves and how you would like to wake up. Describe what you're doing in the morning. You can see, Adric, that down at the water's edge, Harshnag is still there. However, he is sort of cross-legged, sat down, propping himself up on his axe, probably knowing that it is now broad daylight, so therefore the risk of anything isn't as high it would have been at night.
I'll scamper down to see him.
Good morning, Adric. Sleep well?
I did.
Good.
Thank you for your reassurance. Any disturbance? Did you see that creature again?
No, luckily not. I did, however, find a small family of crabs, but with investigating where they had come from, they did scuttle away back into the water. So, apart from that thing that you and I saw, and with Bree pointing it out in the first instance, I believe the crabs were the only eventful part of the evening after that.
I've heard people tell me that there were monsters in the lake, and I've never quite known whether they were teasing me, or just trying to put other people off from fishing in it so they can protect their jobs.
It does cause a bit of cause of concern, especially for those that would have been fishing around, maybe in the deeper waters. Odd indeed. Lucky,
But yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, or maybe it's a new arrival.
Do you frequent the loch often? These tales that have been told to you, are these stories that you and your kin exchange from time to time around, and he points back towards your camp, around the likes of a campfire, for example?
Yes, I've not gone into a great deal of detail about my life before I started traveling.
We all do have our own secrets, Adric, so I do not fault you for keeping yours.
Well, it's not exactly secret. It's just it was quite traumatic, and it was actually quite boring. There was nothing much that went on, but with hindsight, you look back on it more fondly, I suppose, to think, oh yes, that people would come from the villages to sell their fish and their farm produce at the temple. And so I would see the same people every week and get to know them. Yeah, you might not know the name, but you'd know, yeah, that it was Jonah the fisherman, for example. Or yeah.
I
And
see.
he'd just know me as one of the acolytes, and or sometimes I'd be on guard duty, or sometimes I'd be sort of doing something else around, and they'd see me, but they'd see dozens of dwarves. It's not like there's nothing special about me. I suppose I'm one of the few with red hair, but yes, thinking back to the people who used to come to sell the fish and things, where are they? And if they've gone, did the people or the beings who attacked this village then go up the path to Bolgirntek? And if they went there, what happened?
Indeed. Well, those questions will soon be answered, whether for good or for, dare I say, for worse. But alas, you are surrounded by those that will support you, and I will support you all obviously in the quest to understand what is going on in a broader sense. Again, that is the reason why we are trying to piece this puzzle together, and a good starting point, I regretfully say, will be your home.
It occurs to me that if we go up there, when we go up there, I've got to go up there. There's one way in and one way out. So we could be trapped. Other than venturing deep into the mines, I don't know of any way out other than coming back down the path.
I see. Well, if a dire circumstance like that does present itself, I'm sure with the minds around within this party, we could come up with a solution. Whether that be strapping you all to my back and climbing a mountain, there will always be a way out. But hopefully that
I have a fly spell.
Okay.
We could fly. One of us could fly. Locke can fly.
Well, for those that are riveted to the ground, let's say, I will carry them on my back in the very, very low event that we are hypothetically talking about.
Let's see what happens first, eh?
Indeed. I can see the rest of your party are starting to stir. Please go have breakfast and prepare yourselves for the journey ahead. I will do one last sweep of the area to see what I can find in this ruined area. And he gets up to his feet.
Thank you for taking the watch as well.
Not at all. And he gives you sort of like a slight nod with that kind gesture, that kind thanks that you gave him. Okay. For those within the camp, what are we doing? Please talk amongst yourselves. Let's get this camp a-going.
Bree will do her usual Bree-like thing and just sleep until told to get up.
Weylin will, of course, get up and start preparing, get all of his stuff sorted out, and preparing a meal using rations plus one potato that he can use.
Okay.
I'll be summoning my little pal.
Okay.
His name is Reuben, by the way.
Reuben.
Nice.
Probably my favourite sandwich, but that's by the by. Okay. So, Coco, what would you be doing this morning?
I'll get up. I'll stretch my feathers out.
Yep.
Give a big squawk so everyone knows I'm awake. I'll come out,
have some breakfast, I guess. Say morning to those that are awake. I noticed that Bree is asleep like usual, so I'll maybe annoy her later.
Okay, not a problem. So, with all of you going about your daily musings of the morning, Adrick, you have prepared, I would say, a new list of spells, or is it going to be the same list?
Uh,
It is up to you.
okay, and the moments. That's a good question. Let me think about that.
Not a problem. Yep, no worries. No worries.
Yeah.
Weylin, your bow is all strung. All your kit is. You're probably about 3/4 of the way of packing down all your camp equipment. You take back some of the torches that may have gone out in the night and no one had relit. So I would say you've got about 1/4 of your torches that you've used. If you're keeping track of that, please make the adjustments.
Nice.
Locke, you've been sat on the floor, sort of thinking hard of trying to get this little cub to appear again and trying to go through some of the old methods in the past of you trying to call some little creatures here and there from your time back in the forest. In the peripheral vision of where you're trying to focus, it's almost as if you've got your blinkers on. Just slowly creeping into view, this little bear cub just starts looking at you, looks around, sort of trying to get your attention and gives you a poke.
I'll pick him up and go in search of breakfast.
Cool. Okay. This familiar, this bear cub, this little being that has now appeared in front of you, and you've got this, I would say, this innate, mysterious connection. Doesn't look like a normal bear cub. There is almost like a bit of an odd sheen to its fur, depending on how the light hits the little one. Also, its ears seem to be a little bit more tufty to that of what a lynx. It's got like these long, wispy sort of hairs that come out of its ears, and it does almost have like the small areas that would have a lighter tone of fur, almost that to what a tuxedo cat might have, for example. Has this almost like silveriness to them. This truly is, a beautiful little bear, but it is definitely not of this plane. It almost has some sort of feyness to it, yes? Almost that of the oddity that Weylin is, yes? Has that difference to it. Almost slightly out of place of where you all are now. But it acts just like a bear cub. It wants food all the time. It's very playful, tricky, stubborn from time to time as you tell it no for something or the other. Definitely going to be a bit of a handful. Okay.
Cool.
You're all around the campfire. Most of your camp is packed, but Bree is still kind of snoozing.
I'll look at Adrick and hold up my hand again.
Ooh, here we go. Do you accept, Adrick?
Do I accept what?
I'm holding up my fist, ready to do a rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, I look across at Bree. It's not my turn.
I'll just keep my fist out.
It's not my turn.
Waylon notices from the distance, he shrugs. It's like, well, you're in for it. And he carries.
Yeah. Fist is still held out.
Okay. As the pair of you are arguing, Bree, you get a large index finger poked into you.
Who is this?
Come on, wake up. Come on. It's
Okay.
Harshnag is kind of crouched beside you, just prodding you.
Did you find the thing in the water?
To a degree. Found some crabs as well. As he gets back up, straightening his legs up, looking out towards the loch.
I guess I'll get up. Give me a minute.
Okay. Is there anything specific you would like to do, Bree?
I guess in the process of getting up and packing up, I'll do some stretches. Haven't really done a whole lot of stretching or strength training. So I'll do some of that, do a little bit of push-ups, crunches, and then pack up my tent and have a ration.
Okay. So you have your breakfast as everyone's sort of hoiking their stuff within the cart with the oxen now fully strapped to its frame. Noticing that they're pretty much done and kicking their heels around, you sling all of your stuff on, just finishing up the last remnants of your breakfast rations. Harshnag has all of his gear. He stands sort of looming over you. He looks towards the loch and he looks over in the opposite direction to where the mountainside is almost cloven in two, and this seems to be an open direction. The only area in which you would all be able to maybe pass through a gorge or a mountain pass of some sorts. He turns to you, Adrick. Adrick, would this be the direction that we would be going? And he points towards that bisected mountainside.
There's only one route. Obviously, I know the way from here.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's I'll do some air quotes, secret path. It's not that secret. It's marked with a couple of pillars. So
I see.
we can head there, and then there's a trail. It's a windy trail, but there's an elevator to take goods up with.
Yes, I see.
But if we're going to take the ox cart up, we've probably got to go up and up and up down the windy trail.
Yes, indeed. Well, if it may be of ease, maybe you all could take the elevator. I could walk up this trail that you describe, and maybe we could leave the oxen and the cart down below, depending on how far this trail takes us into the mountain pass.
And assuming there's anyone there to raise and lower the elevator.
True. Well then, he picks up his axe and he straps it to his back, adjusts himself. Are we ready?
Yeah, we must face this.
Yeah.
I think so.
Adrick, please lead the way as he waves his hand towards what would have been the side entrance to this village, which is now completely and utterly destroyed, with just the path between the two ruined structures of the wall.